As you can see, I finally got my grinder finished. Finished off the small wheel attachment for the front end, and it's coming really handy for shaping handles and shaping knives. I absolutely love it to bits. I've got the big wheel attachment finished. I've got 2 work tables for it. I've been using it a lot. I'm slowly but surely making my way over to full-time knife making, and what I intend to do is just gradually ease my way into it. It's something I want to do, it's something I've been working towards for a while, but it involves a lot of work, sort of setting this shop up, because as it is at the moment it's not set up for anything in particular with all the things I do. So I want to kind of rearrange all the benches and move the grinders around, and I've been buying equipment, figuring out where I'm going to put it. So the only thing I can do is sort of clear that wall where my timber rack is, clear that timber rack away and set up some benches along there. I think it's just going to give me more room and be more suited to what I'm doing. I've been cutting up timber for scales on the bandsaw, stabilising that, putting it in my drying oven to dry, because it takes a long time, you know, 6 months to a year before you can really use it and have any confidence in it. And this last week I've been kind of making knives. I've been making some for the Kizuna organisation, the karate organisation. They've commissioned a knife, part of the Colwell range, and this is it, and that's the knife I was just grinding there. And it's a knife that they use in training, or it can just be used as a general, I guess, field bushcraft type knife. Got a double cutting edge on the flange. I think I've showed this knife before. It's got a really beautiful grip. As I say, it can be used like that, and it can also be held sort of like that. So I've got 3 of them on the bench at the moment. I've got one in U. I've got one in, I don't know. I think it was beech burl. I've got one in spalted sycamore, and I've got another smaller knife I'm working on in eucalyptus. I think I showed you the folding subscriber knife, didn't I? Can't really remember. I've not gone too much further on this, because I honestly looked at it and I thought I can make the handle smaller. But it involves remaking the spring, remaking the liners. So I almost jumped at it and did it, but I'll leave it on the bench, and I'll just leave it for a couple of weeks and keep looking at it and decide if I'm going to do that. But one way or the other, this knife will be finished by the end of this month, July. So keep your eyes open for that. I've just finished another axe head off. I like to complicate my life by making the head like that. So that will be a great joy to fit the haft into. But it's a lovely looking axe, that, and this will be up for sale if anyone's interested. I'll put a set price on it, and it'll be first come first serve really. If you're outside the UK, there'll be shipping costs and maybe shipping insurance to add on to it. I don't know. I'd have to quote you for that, but I'll try and get that finished off this month as well, in between everything else. I'm on TV on the 21st or the 22nd of July. BBC programme, BBC One, 22nd or 21st. It's a Friday, 21st or 22nd of July. It's on in the morning, 9:15. It's a programme called Right on the Money, and I'm giving advice to a young girl who wants to start up a YouTube channel. She's a DJ, works in Birmingham, so I went over there and I gave her some advice on starting up a YouTube channel. they did quite a bit of filming of my knives and one thing and another, and talked about the work I do, but I really don't know what will be included in that program. I'm blind as much as you are, so just have to wait and see when it comes out. I doubt I'll be in it for more than 30 seconds anyway. But since then, about a month ago, the BBC contacted me again regarding my roller pigeons. So two guys came down, the cameraman and the producer, and they're doing a program called Time Shift, all about pigeons, from domesticated pigeons from the war years up till now. And it'll be an interesting program really, if any of you guys are into pigeons, because they're covering a wide range of birds, from homers to fancy pigeons to tumblers, rollers, all kinds of things. They're interviewing a lot of guys. It should be a good program. They came here, they filmed my birds, talking about my birds, flying my birds. His camera was massive, so I don't think he quite got a lot of flying action. The camera was the size of, 7 breeze blocks on his shoulder, so it wasn't really the most portable thing. But he got a bit of footage of them landing and maybe flying around in the background. And that program's on in the autumn, they said, but they're going to contact me when that program comes out. So I'll give you the heads up on that if you're interested in the pigeon side of things. I think it's a BBC 4 program, that. Right, rocket stove pizza oven. I'm maybe looking into doing that commercially. I really don't know yet. I've been working on it so much. I've spent a month or more working on that, changing the riser, I'm just changing everything completely, going backwards, going forwards again, just trying to get it the absolute best I can. I've bought some commercial pizza stone for the base, and I really cannot improve on it anymore. I've tried my best. There's no way I can get more efficiency out of this stove. There's no way I can make it burn cleaner, because it's absolutely bang on as it is. It's now to the stage where there's 2 stones in the oven now. The bottom stone will hit about 350 to 400 degrees within about 10 minutes, and that's just absolutely the perfect temperature for cooking pizza, I've found. Any hotter, it's kind of burning the bases before it's cooked the dough. So where it is at the moment is absolutely bang on. The top stone is maybe 25 degrees lower in temperature, but it's a great stone because there's more heat moving over the top of that stone. It's just perfect. So I've got pizzas down now to absolutely 2 minutes in the oven, fresh dough, whatever toppings you want, cooked to perfection in 2 minutes. A lovely thin coated crispy base. The dough's risen perfectly and cooked beautifully, and the toppings are wonderful. So it's making me mouth water thinking about it. So instead of steak Saturdays, it's now pizza Saturdays every week. So I'm going to, the version I showed you on YouTube, it's still the same oven, although it's been patched up, welded together and changed quite a lot of times. I'm now going to build the final version of that stove in stainless steel, and I'll show you it when it's done, because I think I may try and do something with it commercially. We'll try and get it fabricated, and we'll try and sell it. Well, I'll show it to you, see what you think. Right, a guy asked me about my hydraulic press, and it's something I've been going to do a video on actually for a while, because over the time since I first showed it, quite a few people have asked me questions about it and asked me to do a bit of a video on it. So we'll go outside and well, I'll show you that. And so here's my little press, and it is a 25-ton hydraulic bottle jack, which is very slow. You know, the thing that sets this apart from normal bottle jacks, obviously, is because it's got an air-powered actuator. So that is the little controller for the bottle jack, and you simply press that down. You connect your air line to it. you press that down and it operates it by compressed air instead of hand pumping it. So I made this very simple foot treadle, which is a plate, piece of angle iron, a couple of brackets welded on the back there with a pin through, with a lug on that piece of steel just to form a hinge like so. A little nut there. I did have that nut adjustable, but I cut it off in the end because it didn't need to be. But anyway, that I press on that with my foot and it actually operates the actuator for the hydraulic press, so it leaves me with both hands free to operate the press then. There's no point in me firing it up because you've probably heard it before. The construction itself, that's the release mechanism for the actual jack, to release the jack. So you turn it to the left, jack goes down, then you lock it back up. It takes a bit of getting used to, but when you're actually using this, you press down your foot pedal, you tighten up, first of all you tighten up your valve, you press down on your foot pedal, the jack goes up, you're holding the work in your right or left hand obviously, and then as you want to release, you simply release, tighten it back up straight away and press. So it's release, press, release, press, release, press. It's just, it's easy to figure out once you get the hang of it. When I made this, I didn't really know what exactly I was going to be forging and what thickness of work I was going to put through it. So the gap is maybe a bit big, but the bottle jack does travel and close. The construction on this, it needs to be pretty robust because it's a dangerous thing to have 25 ton of pressure between them two little dies. So unless you build this, you engineer the hell out of it, you're going to get hurt. There's no two ways about it. So if I show you the construction on this thing, you'll see the sides there. See the base, that's two pieces of angle iron which are welded onto these two arms. There's also another piece of that angle iron welded between underneath. That has then got a steel plate welded on top of it all to form the base to put the jack on. The jack is then bolted through the base there. It comes with holes in the base of the jack. There's two bolt holes that bolt the jack down and stop it moving. These arms are 3 by 2 inch box section steel, hollow steel, but it's quite thick walled stuff. The brace across the top is two bars, which is solid steel bars. They're maybe 2.5 inches by 1 inch thick. And there's two of them welded side by side to form that brace. Then there's a plate welded underneath them to link them together and to carry the tooling. Okay, so the actual part of the press that goes up and down, that wants to be fairly robust. I had a lot of this bar stock here, which you can see the size of that bar stock. It's maybe 2 inch by 10 mil. I ended up cutting a series of them and welding them all together as a solid block. Then these two arms slip on the outside of that. The one at the back has a bolt. I'll take you around the back. Can you see the back one there? The back one is bolted on so that allows you to remove the whole assembly should you need to. So that is fairly free moving, as you can see. And the top of the jack simply pushes on a couple of blocks there that are welded to that plate. And you need that free movement, but you don't want that too sloppy, otherwise it will kind of lock up on itself. So your tolerances want to be pretty good on that. You want to make sure that the centre of the bottle jack is in the centre of where your tooling is as well. If it's not centered on that, it will kind of tend to push it over that way. So if you keep everything centered there, you haven't got much problems. Well, I haven't had any problems. The tooling, this tooling needs to be locked in. So that's what I've done. I've just created two little channels there, and I've got various different bits of tooling. That's one for flattening out the steel. There's another one for sort of working the steel. That tends to spread the billets quite well. So I've got one that works that way, and I've also got another one that works the opposite way somewhere. I'm not sure where that is at the moment. I've got a couple of really big ones there as well, and they really move the steel, and I got them to kind of manipulate the pattern to put really sharp creases in the steel, just to move the patterns around. But you don't want to make these forging dies too big. These are really, they're kind of too big really for general forging on this press, because the bigger this surface area, the less force that the actual hydraulics have on your steel. I found the dies that work really best are these, and it's about a 12mm bar, something like that, and if you put them in, they really do move the metal. They're fantastic, they are. And that's about it really. If you're going to make one of these, I suggest you make sure that the welding is good and strong. The first one of these I made, I actually welded some 2-inch box section steel. I actually welded it all together on the base, and it was all kind of that way, and I put a plate on the top, and the first time I operated the jack, it actually bent the base down. The bottle jack pushed its way, was pushing down because the force is sort of equal whichever way you work. So the bottle jack is pushing down, and it actually bent the plate like that and brought the legs in, and the jack stopped working. So I had to cut it all up and change it to that method. There's quite a few videos on YouTube showing these little bottle jacks, these little bottle jack presses, but I couldn't find a set of plans for one. You just got to kind of look at the video and figure it out yourself, I think. But I've been using it for 2 or 3 years now, maybe a bit more. I've not had any real problems with it. As I say, you just make sure everything is safe, like them little locking pins on there, so your tooling doesn't shoot out. If you've got 25 ton of pressure on that and that thing shoots out with your tooling, it's going to hurt you. You end up in hospital probably. So they're kind of locked in and they're safe then, they can't move. It's not a fast method, it's not a fast jack at all, but it's a lot faster than a hammer. I do know that. Hell of a lot faster than a hammer. It does help if you warm these up. When I start forging, I'll put these into the forge for a minute or two to get them hot. It really helps when you first start forging the steel. After you've been forging for a while, these little dies tend to retain a bit of heat, but putting hot work on a cold die will suck the heat out of it straight away. Ideally, as you probably know, you need a fast action on these things, because pushing slow on the steel, it just draws the heat out of it. So the faster the action, the less contact it's got with the steel, and the less heat it's going to draw from the bar. I do plan on making a much better hydraulic press, but you know, I don't know anything about hydraulics. It's going to be a learning curve. I'm going to have to figure out what size pump I need, what size oil reservoir I need, get the hydraulic pipes made, buy the ram. It will be more substantial than this. I'd like something 25 to 30 ton probably would be good enough, but I think a really fast action is all you need. It makes a lot of difference. This has enough force to move the steel, there's no doubt about it, but it's just too slow. Ideally faster is better. I'm going to build that, I don't know when. I've been building it for 2 years. So hopefully one day, as I sort of get more into my knife making now and forging, because I want to start making Damascus knives, that thing will get built, or I'll find a buddy, hint, it'll sort of help me out with it. So that's about it. There's my new logo. My son's just photoshopped that for me. I really like that. It's just changed slightly from what it was. That'll be going on all the knives and things I make from now on. I bought a little etching machine, Etchograph is it? It's over there somewhere. Etch-O-Matic. I bought that because it's going to be a lot easier using their stencils to etch on the steel. It takes too long using the method I was doing. You can do it. It's a very cost-effective, inexpensive way of doing it, but once I start doing a lot of knives, I don't want to be spending hours and hours and hours printing out stencils, ironing them on blades. I want to be able to literally stamp the blade and have done with it. So that's the way I'm moving forward on that. I have got a Rockwell testing machine coming. I just don't feel comfortable selling knives without knowing exactly what the Rockwell hardness is of the steel. So I just want to make sure that my tempering and heat treating is right. So that's coming. Also, I'll be able to test all my knives for the Rockwell before I sell them. That's it, fellas. If you think of anything else, I'll put it in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.